Hello party people, my name is Inky and welcome back to the Art Fight Sheet series. Now if you don't know me, I'm a digital artist from Spain and I draw D&D characters. Every year since 2018 I've participated in an art fight, and this year I'm stepping up my game notch by introducing turnaround sheets. That's right people, I'm doing turnarounds of all of my characters. I believe there are 18 of them on my page right now, but I plan on adding a couple more, and I have until July to do it. Wish me luck, please. Every week I draw one of these, and I tell you a bit about the character's lore, the character's story. This week on the chopping block is my girl Lantera. This is Lantera. She is a snake. Partially. I did this exact same joke when I introduced Moss in the Damien video, but I do it again because it's funny. Lantera is a Yuan Ti. That's like a D&D thing. They're like snake people. More specifically, she is a Malison, which means that she is half snake, half person. There's like tiers to the Yuan Ti. There's some that just look like people with a bit of snake in them. There's half and half, and then there's the ones that are all snake. The ones with officially supported player race stat blocks are the ones that are people, but my DM was like, I want to make Malisons playable, and I've made a sheet for that, but I have yet to test it. I need you guys to test it with me. Make some Malisons. So we did. Now I'm gonna level with you real quick. I have no idea what the officially supported Yuan Ti lore is, so I am going to tell you about ours. The Yuan Ti come because a demon prince came out of the abyss at some point, and in doing so just messed up a bunch of living organisms, among which were some people, who are now snake people. They speak both Draconic and Abyssal, but they do not worship the demon prince that led to their birth. They instead worship the Ouroboros, and the thing about the Ouroboros is that the Ouroboros exist because the Yuan Ti believe in the Ouroboros. So if you will, it's like a snake that's eating its own tail. You know what, boo me all you want, I'm proud of that. That was funny to me. Okay, let me elaborate on that for a second. So the Ouroboros exist because the Yuan Ti have a very strong belief that things are cyclical, and will always sort of come back to themselves in a way. And that strong belief has manifested itself into a god. That's one of the many ways gods can come about in our setting. The Yuan Ti, as I'm sure you can imagine from all this, are deeply religious and incredibly messed up people. And one of the things that's incredibly messed up about them is that they conduct human sacrifices. More accurately, actually, elven sacrifices most of the time. Because they're perched up in the jungles neighboring Esmain, which is a mostly elven kingdom. Yay! Lantera used to be a priestess of the Ouroboros, which means that she partook in many an elven sacrifice. Like, cut them open, pull their heart out, offer it to the Ouroboros, a whole shebang. Blood rituals galore. And she wasn't evil by any means, she just didn't know anything else. That's how you did things, that was correct, and you were, in fact, honoring the lives of people who did not believe in the Ouroboros by offering them to a greater cause, that their deaths were worthwhile. Right about now, I'm hoping that 3 minutes in is late enough for YouTube to not completely whack my video for having human sacrifice in it. Hopefully. Well, you know, what's done is done. Lantera used to sacrifice people. And she was actually kinda high rank. The thing is, okay, let's take this back a bit. The matriarch of the city is this big messed up snake lady that had children with an elven man, because I know I said Yuan Ti kill elves, and they mostly do, but a couple elves actually willingly come to the Yuan Ti and join their culture instead, and they're like allowed, because so long as you worship the Ouroboros, it's Gucci. The aforementioned matriarch had a bunch of children with the elven man, and because she was all snake and the children were half snake, half elven, they came out as Malisons. One of these children is Moss. You remember Moss from the Damien video? Moss, the little gay boy that's going around messing with a drow? Yeah, him. Moss was his mother's favorite child, and he up and left one day. He got sick of the Yuan Ti's shit. That caused great sorrow to the family, yada yada, etc, etc. I'm sure anybody with abandonment issues can relate. In lieu of Moss, Moss's mother's favorite child was now his sister, Alestra. And Alestra's favorite person was Lantera. So while not of particularly high status by birth, Lantera is the favorite junior priestess to the current successor to the matriarch of the Yuan Ti, who herself is soon to be high priestess because her mother wants to do bigger and better things. So that's the stage set out. Lantera is the junior priestess to Alestra, who is about to become high priestess. The thing is, Lantera discovers something she doesn't really like. The Yuan Ti have these creatures around the place called Brood Guard, and the Brood Guard, as the name would imply, guard the children. Except the Brood Guard are made of people. And I don't mean like, oh, the Brood Guard are made out of dead bodies or something. No. The Brood Guard are prisoners who, against their will, get body horror transformed into these mindless, hulking beasts. And it's pretty gruesome. Lantera does not like this, because when she sacrifices someone, she does it with a swift cut. They don't really feel that much pain, and she makes sure that they are dead before they're cut open. And, their bodies are offered up to the Ouroboros. They are given a chance to become part of something greater. So it's okay, actually, she thinks. The Brood Guard, however, do feel pain. They don't actually serve a greater purpose beyond the whims of the Yuan Ti. They do not necessarily please the gods in the same way that a sacrifice might. So actually, it's a little bad, wrong, and pointless to kidnap people and make them feel pain and turn into monsters and strip them of autonomy, Lantera thinks. And she rather subtly tries to let Alestra know that, this is giving her a crisis of faith, but she doesn't want to be that much of a bother, and she knows Alestra is still hurting about her brother leaving, so she doesn't quite know how to go about it. And in a moment of desperation, Lantera asks for a sign. A sign from anyone, anything, help. I don't know what I'm doing, I am questioning everything I've ever done. Is sacrificing people even okay? We're just doing these messed up things to people. What actually, what do I do? She's praying to the Ouroboros, please tell me I'm doing things right, please tell me I'm doing things right. The Ouroboros is neglecting her. So she reaches out to anyone and anything that will have her. And instead of the Ouroboros, it's a different god that reaches back to her. A different god from the heavens sends a coatl to guide her, this big winged snake. So in a now or never, blink and you'll miss a chance, Lantera takes her friend Tassila, who also wanted to leave the city, and the snake guides them out through the jungle and away from the city. And she does feel tremendous amounts of remorse because she knows Alestra was hurting over her brother doing basically the same thing, but this was her one chance. If she didn't take it, she might have missed it forever. And eventually, Lantera and Tassila go on to split and each go about their own lives. She finds the god that sent her the snake, and it's this different god called the Argent Soul. And she goes on to become a priestess for that god instead. She's still got the clerical skills. She still knows how to parse scripture and how to conduct rituals and how to carry a present and spread gospel. She abandons her old ways and joins the faith of the Argent, which is mostly about helping people, feeding the hungry, trying to heal the sick, offering the temples as places for people to stay at free of charge if they need so. And she personally repurposes her old skills, cutting open people for sacrifices, as medical skills. On top of being a cleric to this new god, she is also a doctor now. And she winds up actually being fairly beloved. It turns out that her gentle, quiet nature that she always had really thrives and flourishes under this more compassionate faith. And she winds up becoming a priestess. Years go by like this. Lantera is thriving in her lane, moisturized, leading a congregation. One day, she receives word from an ex-friend back home that the matriarch is going to do something, and it's gonna be big. She's trying to become an anathema, which is the last digi-evolution of the Yuan Ti. Super cracked, multiple heads of snakes, whole thing. And Lantera decides that she would like to prevent that from happening, because that would be pretty bad if the Yuan Ti got away with that and started causing more problems even. So she gets together with Tassila, and the both of them return to the jungle, to the Yuan Ti city, to try and put a stop to the ritual. And this is what Lantera looks like at that time. This is the first Lantera design. Obviously, snakes don't wear pants, so I asked my dad, what do Yuan Ti who have snake bottoms wear, actually? And he's like, most Yuan Ti actually probably wear something resembling saris, because that fits all of them, whether they have legs or not. So I figured that even though she's moved away, Lantera probably still wears something like that, because, again, Snake bottom. It's not like she's gonna be able to find pants. I gave her a quarterstaff as her weapon of choice because it's not sharp, it's blunt, it does bludgeoning damage. And my DM lets you declare bludgeoning damage is non-lethal, so even if it would usually kill an enemy, you can just knock them out cold. And you know, this woman's days of cutting people open are behind her, so she would rather like it if she got a blunt weapon instead. That little trinket on her waist is like a little silver dove. The Argent Soul has many symbols. We've got like goats and shepherd's canes and doves, so that's the one I went with for Lantera. I put feathers in her hair. They're supposed to be coatl feathers, or at least resemble coatl feathers. So like the snake creature that guided her out of the city. And I guess the last thing I would have to say about this design is that she has red eyes and her scales are pink because she is an albino corn snake. I asked my friends if I could be a pink snake, if there were any pink snakes, because I would like to play a pink snake, and they said yes. So that's the snake she's based on. Back to your regularly scheduled story time, Lantera and Tassila are going back to home and stopping that ritual. And they decide to do it by ruining the rehearsal of the ritual the day before. A break-in into the temple ensues, hijinks ensue, a lot of the guards are trying to catch them, they evade one of Moss's siblings who is guarding the temple, and then they get to the top, and who's there if not Alestra? Also, another one of Moss's siblings, Hestura. Fuck Hestura. All of us hate him. I don't even think the DM likes him. Hestura's just a right old bastard. Maybe the DM likes him because he's like a fun villain, but like, fuck this man. But Alestra's also there. And Lantera and Alestra both have a lot of feelings. So Alestra's like, oh my god, you left me despite of everything. Despite of how dear you were to me. And Lantera's like, I know, I'm so sorry. I wish I could have told you something. I wish I had been braver, and I wish I had been more clear to you, and I wish I had been more open, because leaving without warning was, like, my life's greatest regret. They're actually, like, resolving their mother-daughter figure issues. Again, they're not actually family, but they might as well be. But Lantera and Tassila cannot let the ritual continue. Lantera's almost tempted to look the other way, because she's reuniting with Alestra. But no. They got moral. They can't let the ritual thing happen. So a fight breaks out. And Hestura is a right old bitch. And in the fight, he just cuts Lantera open, straight up bisects her head. And then that's when the fight stops. Alestra is completely distraught. Tassila is completely distraught. And Hestura is just standing there. The bastard. And in a quiet moment of both, like, desperation and fury, Tassila just goes up to Hestura after the fight is over and just shoots him point blank through the back with their gun. That doesn't fix anything, but it's something. And Alestra, being High Priestess, is, like, a cleric, so in a moment of desperation, she rolls for Divine Intervention. For those of you that don't know how that works in D&D, clerics can roll for a divine intervention from their god directly. You roll percentile dice, which is a number between 1 and 100 or 0 to 99 depending on the roll. And if it's lower than your cleric level, it works. Now, levels in D&D go up to 20. The exception to this is level 20 clerics, which is like the highest tier of cleric. Alestra does not have a level because she's an NPC working off of a monster stat block. But the DM basically decides that, like, no, she's not on the sheer scale of a level 20 character, so she doesn't get a guaranteed divine intervention, she gets a divine intervention roll like everybody else, and the chances are, like, not great. It's at most 1 through 19, which would make it slightly under a 4th, if not less, because I don't know what level my DM ruled her as for the purposes of this. But he rolls, and it works. The main thing is that Alestra is a priestess of the Ouroboros, and she's just called in a divine intervention from the Ouroboros. So she can have her Lantera back, she can have her protege on the Ouroboros' terms. Lantera comes back too, and she is frayed and worn and tired, and her god is not with her. She can't feel her gaze, she can't feel her presence, and she can't cast from her divine magic. Alestra just asked for Lantera back. She didn't specify, and the Ouroboros has decided to bring her back, but completely unable to communicate with her god, And that's more or less when we wrap up the one-shot. Yeah! Lantera does not see a point in going back to her congregation. What good is a priestess who has been utterly cut off from her god by malignant forces? And Tassila does leave. Tassila actually stays for a bit with their father, and then when their father passes, Tassila leaves. Lantera never leaves. She stays with Alestra for a little bit while she recovers physically, and then Alestra offers her a job. She knows that Lantera is never going to agree to go back to the worship of the Ouroboros, so instead she offers her if she would like to become a full-time caretaker for the young, because at least if she does that, then they don't need the brood guard to look after the young, and therefore Lantera's biggest gripe, originally at least, with Yuan Ti society would be gone. Lantera, having nothing better to do, agrees, because, at least like that, she can still do some form of good. She didn't even stop the ritual, she just postponed it. It went through a while afterwards anyway. At least by taking up Alestra on her offer, she can at least save a couple people from having to be turned into monsters. She can't stop the sacrifices, she can't stop the Ouroboros, she can't even stop the anathema, but she can at least save a couple people. And that is actually just where this character's story ends for now. My DM has hinted at the possibility of her making a comeback as an NPC in the latest of the campaigns, so that will be interesting, because it's decades after the events of this. Here's the second design. It's mostly just an outfit change, and then obviously the scars from that bitch Hastura, and she's traded out the coatl feathers because she can't really reach her goddess anymore. What does it matter? So instead she is wearing flowers, specifically medicinal flowers. She's still a little bit of a doctor of sorts because not all of her skills came from magic. Oh, and of course she looks miserable because, I just described all of her hopes and dreams being hopelessly crushed forever, irreparably, so, And the usual. Like, comment, and subscribe, I guess. Let me know what you liked and how this depressed you, because I'm sure it did. I take commissions on Coffee and PayPal for art. If you want any art fights coming up. If you want to get a character sheet for one of your characters, you could do that. And that's all. Maybe share this with a friend if you think they would like to get depressed, or you would like to depress them with my snake woman. Goodbye.